This is the Trout Bitten Podcast.
Trout bitten.
Trout bitten?
Trout bitten.
Trout Bitten.
Trout bitten.
Yeah, Trout Bitten.
Trout bitten.
It's about trout.
Wild trout.
This is Trout Bitten.
This is the Trout Bitten Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Trout Bitten and the author of TroutBitten.com. All right, we have arrived at the Season 7 finale. And with our buddy Sloop John B in the house, this is going to be a good episode. So one of the most fortuitous decisions I made with this Trout Bitten Podcast early on was to divide it into seasons. I like these endpoints and the new beginnings that follow. I know the rest of the guys do as well. And personally, I don't want to do something every week, year after year, with no end in sight, because that kind of thing just burns me out. So tonight's episode, then, concludes our 7th season, and I can tell you that Season 8 will be a skills series focused on night fishing for trout. We've done a couple podcasts previously that kind of skimmed the surface of night fishing, but Josh, Trevor, and I are really looking forward to digging deep into the full skills series that tackles the mysteries of trout after dark. Some of our episode topics will follow along the same path that the Night Fishing for Trout article series follows over on the website, and Season 8 will start up here in about a month or so. And in the meantime, I'll probably keep in touch with a couple short solo podcasts throughout the month of July, like I did in between the last 2 seasons. I do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this past season. Each of these sponsors has been with Trout Bitten for a long while now, and I value these relationships. Thank you, too, to the listeners for supporting these companies, using the codes they provide and just dropping them a line, letting them know that you appreciate their involvement. Goes a long way to keeping this Trout Bitten project rolling along. So here is a sincere thank you to our show sponsors for this season: Orvis, Fulling Mill, Squala, Tactical Fly Fisher, Precision Fly and Tackle, Smith Creek, Avid Max, and New Trail Brewing Company. Honestly, none of what we do here would be possible without the support of these companies, so thank you. Likewise, to my friends here, my fishing crew, my podcast buddies, my Trout Bitten guys, thanks for being here every week. Thanks for your ideas and your wisdom and your candor. Thanks for your friendship, and thanks for sharing your talents. The Trout Bitten Podcast is made special by these friendships right here. And really, that's what we're adding in tonight. Another friend, and possibly the deepest friend if we consider how Trout Bitten started. Sloop tied it all together from the beginning, and we'll get to that in a minute. So every Trout Bitten regular knows about Sloop. We've referred to our friend here on nearly every podcast, especially in the last few seasons, because it's become almost a running contest to see how we can sneak in a Sloop John B reference. Right? Yeah. You know? All right, so we're excited to have John here, but before we get into everything, let me quickly introduce the rest of the crew so you can hear and know their voices too. Bill Dell, when's the last time you fished?
Sunday.
Oh, and it's Tuesday already. You better get on the stick.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's been a long time, right?
All right.
Got to get on that.
Austin, how's the home improvement?
Oh, great. I was painting my shutters tonight.
Austin sends the group text a lot of like, here's the project I'm starting. Oh, look, now here's the project I've finished. Dude, my sump pump or whatever you call that for the HVAC, you know, that little pump. It went bad.
Sump pump for your HVAC?
And it's not a sump pump,
but yeah.
What do you call it?
Mm-mm.
What do you call it? It's where
Your
they
heat pump?
Well, no,
it's just a little. He's got a little pump that pumps the condensation water that comes out of the HVAC system.
Okay, your condensate pump.
Okay. That thing went bad. And Becky's like, what's going on? It wasn't that bad, right? But anyway, so now I got to do that job.
You don't have a drain.
No, it pumps, up and out of the house through a little hole that actually is under the deck. Anyway, nice. I don't want to do that job. But you'd just like snap your fingers and it would be done.
Mm-mm. Sump pump.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's right.
Sump
pump.
Throw it back to season 1.
Season 1. Tell everybody quick, man. Austin,
episode 1.
Yeah.
I started recording in my wife's grandmother's basement when we moved back to Pennsylvania.
We've come so far.
A few times the sump pump would run like crazy, and each time we'd all go, sump pump, sump pump.
It would make quite a racket. All right, that was cool. Hey, Josh Darling is back from Texas.
Man, good to be back. Feels like I've not been here all season, it kind of feels like.
God, how do you travel with that many young ones?
It's how does my wife
Yeah, I
handle
was
it?
thinking that.
That's the question. For me, it's a break for me. I didn't have them.
Oh, for real?
They weren't with me. I was alone.
I don't know why I thought it was a family trip, but I got that wrong. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you were
no,
just.
I was
that's
alone.
easy for you.
Free
There
man.
you go. That's a vacation. He was
Oh,
a free
man.
man.
It was a lot
Get
of
some
sleep.
fishing in down there.
No, I did not.
That's
no.
what it really was. It was a fishing trip for Josh.
No, man.
He's like, honey, I'm
That'd be
going. I got
something.
work. I got work to do.
I got work in Texas. I wouldn't be going to
He
Texas.
said he had to go to Texas.
No,
I
true.
wouldn't be going to Texas.
Warm water species.
Guadalupe bass. No.
Yeah, forget that.
I'm good.
All right, good to have you back.
Thank you.
Hey, here's Matt Grobe coming in. His screen name tonight is Bizarro Sloop. What you doing, bud?
I'm doing bizarro sloop stuff. I don't know. No. I'm excited for the Night Tactics
Oh yeah,
podcasts because Sloop, you and I can take those.
No,
You're scaring the bears,
that's right.
and I'm gonna fish. That's the
Sloop's
deal.
covered in peanut butter, and Matt's fishing.
We've talked about it for a while.
yeah.
Sorry, so here he is. Our special
Right.
guest this evening is our good friend John Burgos, Sloop John B. Sloop, Sloopy,
Hey,
Slooper.
Sloop.
Nice to have you here.
Sloop.
I've been waiting 3
Yeah.
years to do this.
Yeah.
Ready? Trout bitten.
That is classic.
I'll tell you, man.
That is a new one.
I listen to you guys. It's like Dell, he's kind of the raw and genuine trout bitten.
On the intro.
And you have Austin, he's the poised intellectual trout bitten. I love all the styles, but I'm like, shit,
You know
I
how
should do that.
that intro
That's
came
great.
about? Joey and I were just on a walk one day when we were thinking about getting this podcast started. And Joey, my oldest son, I don't know, we're just goofing around. And, well, we started saying trout bitten in a bunch of different ways. It's about trout, wild trout. The whole intro was right there. I just hit record on my phone, on a little recording app. Recorded it. And then I handed it off to Josh. Well, we recorded some of our voices here, and then I handed it off to Josh, and he made the magic happen, put it all together. We're never changing that. It's a great intro.
Sloop and I need a voice. We need a trout bitten.
It sounds like you're on there, Matt. People assume that you're the guy that goes, trout bitten.
That's Dell. Is it?
That's
Dell.
me.
Yeah, that's him.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was
that's
Dom.
him.
Yeah.
That's me.
Oh, was it? That's
Yeah.
funny.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Probably mixed his voice to sound like you.
Can do anything.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that everybody who have heard of all these sloop stories, I hope they don't come away disappointed from
That's impossible.
That's right.
No chance.
That's right.
because they're largely fabricated.
Well,
No,
they're
no.
Exaggerated.
In
Exaggerated.
a good way or a bad way?
But I do like how Matt likes to invite me on the really grisly trips. Really,
Grizzly bear.
and he encourages me to go first.
With a bell.
He's so nice.
Through the willows.
For safety, he puts a bell on you.
Yeah. I'm always looking out for you, Sloop.
See? He
You
cares.
go ahead. I gotta tie my shoe.
Yeah. Hold this jar of peanut butter.
Carry this beef jerky for me. Put this.
Well, it's funny. I guess I have always liked to consider myself the elder statesman of the
You have,
trout bitten
yeah.
crew.
Mm.
Of course, we've added a few since I've been back in Pennsylvania, Josh and Trevor. So it was nice to get to meet you guys.
Yeah, that was sweet to have that little bit of time.
Where was that? The Tap House?
Federal Tap House, yeah.
Target. We met at Target.
That's hard to. That's right. You have to go through the Target entrance.
Target. That's where we drink
Strangest
at the
thing.
Target.
It's true. You go like through a Target entrance to get to the Federal Tap House.
You know, Sloop, you and I actually fished together, like, 7 years ago with Austin. And when he was trying to convince me to get on the mono rig stuff, you and I fished together, and it was like a slow day. And at the end of the day, Austin was like, "I promise, it really does work."
Here, kid,
Like,
try this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
because it didn't
That
work.
was fun.
So how committed are you, Josh? I take you and Trevor as the streamer kings of
Oh,
the trout bitten crew.
just a night.
Bill
Just a
too.
night.
I'm insulted.
I probably I bet that I fish less streamers than maybe, I wouldn't say any of you.
Oh, Matt doesn't like streamers.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
less than me.
yeah. I mean, they come out every day when fishing, but it's not the primary tactic. That's for sure.
Well, because it's not usually the best tactic around here. It's hard to force feed them streamers. Boy, when it's on, it's good. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you're committed to it, yeah, you get them going. You know what I mean, Dell? Like you can kind of, if you want to do it, you can make them eat streamers.
Yeah.
Yeah, most
You can-
days if you cover enough water, right?
Yeah, exactly. The storms and muddy water. I got a good day on Saturday.
Yeah,
Looked like it.
It's-
Jeez.
they're-
I had a real nice day on, it would have been Sunday. And it was not when I expected it. And then Thursday, we had a real nice day on streamers. I was guiding. It wasn't a whole day, but we had a real nice couple hours. A lot of times when we're running through tactics, guys will say, well, what else can you show me?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'm like, well, here's streamers on this tight line system. That's what we were doing that day. And I even said it. I was like, well, with the sun out and whatever. I said, but the water's up a little bit. Not even up, but just a little stained, a little colored, a little cloudy.
Yep.
So you got a chance, let's try it. Here we go. And they were moving to the streamers. It was hard to get them hooked. Couldn't quite figure that out. We caught like 3, probably got 7 or 8 refusals. But that's not bad. You know what I mean?
No, not in the middle of the day. Not at
Exactly.
all.
That's what I told them. That was fun. So Sloop, you say you're the elder statesman, but let's talk about this. How so much of Trout Bitten really did start with you. All right. So the origins of the Sloop name. Do you remember when that came about?
I don't, but I know it came from you because as a musician, it had to. It had
did.
To start with
It was you and me and Trot. Remember Troy? What's Troy's last name? Yeah.
Troy Dunn.
And so Troy and who else was on that trip? Maybe it was us. We were Connecticut, Farmington and Housatonic.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I just thought, John B. Oh yeah, Sloop John B. So I started calling you Sloop. I don't know if you liked it back then.
I'm not going to say I'm a hugest fan.
Doesn't like the Sloop
He's
name.
not a Beach Boy fan.
I was just telling my wife at dinner, just like, it's one of these things like with a bunch of guys, if you start fighting
That's
it's
true.
just going to get worse.
Now it's Slooper and Sloopy, and
You just kind of accept it and let it go.
you can't change
from
your
there.
nickname. You don't get to choose it, and you can't change it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's the origins of the name. But like the origins of Trout Bitten started with you, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, of course, it probably started when I met Pat at Raytheon where he works. I think, I fished with Pat a whole bunch of times. And then over the months or even year or so that I fished with Pat, I guess he finally ran into you.
Yeah, we were at the walking bridge. He had Logan with him, and I had Joey. Joey was playing a harmonica, which is odd, right? Joey's like 2 years old, just tooting on a harmonica. Not well, not playing songs, but just goofing around. And I don't know, Pat passed me, and he kind of gave me a funny smile. And both of us, I don't know. And you know me, I don't talk to people, but down there, I don't know. We got to talking about fishing, and I mean, things just went from there. And that's honestly why we're all here right now. I've always said you, Sloop, are like the one who kind of tied everybody together, because you met Austin
Well,
and all that.
Yeah, I have a story about Austin too. Yeah.
Man.
But going back before our forum, if I look deep into my old emails, into like some cryptic email file, I can find some of the threads which led to like, hey, we don't want to have these stupid threads here. Let's think of something. And I think, did we use WordPress? It wasn't WordPress.
Free
was it?
forums.
What?
Right, there you go. Right.
Yeah,
It's still there. You called it, what did you call it? The
Yeah.
Trout Bitten? No.
Trout Pitten Kids.
Central PA. Right.
And you guys like, that's too long.
But you call it Trout Bitten. Tell everybody why you call it Trout Bitten.
How did the Trout Pitten name come about? Well, I was a big fan of an author
Joe Humphreys.
from Central PA,
Right.
Joe Humphreys, and he has his book that I think is referenced more than a couple of times on the Trout Bitten website itself. His book Trout Tactics, and in the prelude to one of the chapters, I don't know if it was chapter 3 or chapter 4 or whatever, he talks about himself as hopping on his bicycle and riding, all day down to presumably because he was a Trout Bitten kid.
That's where it comes from.
Spot burn.
Burn it all down, Sloop.
I got to bleep that.
Burn it
out.
all down, Sloop.
Now, burning it down. Thanks, Sloop, for spot burning. We have a policy against that, bud. Got him sidetracked.
He's like,
I hear you. Right, okay. No more spot burning.
You promise? What's your
Hey, now,
Come on, Sloop.
What's your favorite stream out there?
get it
Sloop?
together.
What's your favorite stream
What's my favorite stream?
that Matt really likes too?
I don't know any of Matt's favorite streams, trust me.
He's like 3 miles down the road, still won't tell you his favorite waters. He's like, stop following me. Hey, he's making turns real fast, trying to throw you off the trail.
You need to start charging like more for daycare.
That's my wife's deal.
That's Gloria.
Yeah, that's.
I'll show Gloria Matt's Creek first.
He'll take her.
Matt's Creek.
Yeah, get her and name her.
Where are you fishing? Matt's Creek. Next grievance.
Next grievance.
Yeah, right.
For over a decade, Smith Creek has provided innovative, high-quality fly fishing accessories designed to put your gear in easy reach, free up your hands, and keep our waters clean. For 2023, check out the all-new patented tippet holder. Each unit is individually machined from billet aluminum and anodized in 2 eye-catching colors. They hold up to 5 tippet spools with a spring-loaded plunger that is quick and easy to use, keeping your tippet spools right where you need them. Also, the brand new Rod Clip Plus comes with an improved 304 steel pin, plus a carabiner clip, giving you 2 ways to attach it. All Smith Creek products are built guide tough and backed by solid customer service. To learn more about Smith Creek products, visit their website at smithcreek.co. Tactical Fly Fisher was founded by Fly Fishing Team USA angler Devin Olson to bring anglers cutting-edge gear and techniques from the international competitive fly fishing scene. Tactical Fly Fisher's aim is to help you improve your angling ability so you can have more fun on the water. Whether you need some flies, fly tying equipment, or a new rod or reel, they've got you covered. Head on over to tacticalflyfisher.com and use the code TBPOD10, that's TBPOD10, to get 10% off flies, fly tying supplies, or terminal tackle.
I'll tell you, I followed him down some of these in the search of the next Matt's Creek, and I can tell you one thing. If somebody earns their fish, it's Matt.
You're just trying to get on his good side.
I love it.
Like, yeah.
Remember the time that I was so mired in silt? We went up that one unnamed creek, and I was so mired in silt, I tried to move, and
Sloop had a Charlie horse in about 3 feet of muck, and I literally had to rescue him.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
no, I landed the fish. Of all the fish I didn't sloop, that was the one.
You gotta explain that.
Yeah.
And that was a 20-incher too.
Whiskey?
We measured it, right? I was
What is
Throw
the
it on the
sloop?
bank.
What's slooping a fish?
That's right. Go ahead. What's slooping the fish? What's that mean?
well, sadly, it means when you got a bad habit of allowing fish to get good fish, not just regular old 12-inch rainbows, just good potential whiskey fish. Let them get away because of either poor handling or poor luck. I don't know what. I'm not sure what it is. I try to analyze it each time.
That's it. You summarized it. It's when you lose a fish without reason. You slooped it.
Slooped it. No explanation. It
Gets
probably
below
was
your
your fault, but you can't figure out why.
That's right.
I have a theory. I don't know. Is it okay to put up?
Oh, why do you sloop them? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'd love to hear you guys' point of view. I feel like I had this terrible habit of flipping my rod from downstream to upstream. And I don't know if it turns the hook just enough in the fish's mouth or whatever. And I don't know why I do that, even knowing all of this, why I don't keep the downstream pressure on the fish, but I'll often flip it over. And it seems like after that.
Where's the fish at when you mostly lose it? Is it directly below you and out?
Good question.
I would say that is probably, directly to maybe like, if direct is noon, like 2 to 10, somewhere in that range. Not way downstream and not way upstream.
But below you?
Yep, it's your fault. All your fault.
Yep, it is. So drop your rod.
Thanks, guys.
So drop your rod low, like
low.
Basically your rod tip on the water and, back behind you, and pull that fish to the bank. Don't because if the fish is below you, when you turn or you move your rod tip, if the fish is below you, you're directly pulling it out of its mouth.
Right on.
Versus if your rod tip's back behind you and low, it gives you a different angle and it won't pull the hook directly out of the fish's mouth.
I taught Deli all that stuff.
He did, yeah.
Here's another theory, though.
You're welcome.
Because I get to fish with sloop the most.
Go ahead.
This is a good question to bring up to the group
Mm.
because I think in that scenario, Bill, I think that can be dangerous doing what you're doing if you're pulling that fish in before you've played it a little bit.
Well,
And I think there's sloop sometimes doesn't play them enough and tries pulling them in on softer odds because you fish primarily a 4-weight, right, sloop?
Yes.
I think a 5-weight would benefit you because a 5-weight has a little bit more backbone. And out here, it's different fighting fish in Pennsylvania than in Montana. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, the current's faster. Usually on any given day, you're fighting way faster currents out here than back home. And 2, not on all streams, but the fish are just slightly fatter out here. They're a little bit thicker than,
I feel like he's bragging
fish
again.
in Pia. I'm not bragging. I'm
I
just
feel like he's.
Remember,
Sloop could tell. Are they
It's
fatter
that Western elitism.
on average?
remember the
Right?
grievance
Yeah,
and how
I know.
good Montana
He's
is.
doing it again.
I never said that. I just said they're fatter. They're bigger fish.
Well, let me tell you a predicament, and I'd like to hear all you guys' point of view of this. So, right now I'm fishing. Today I've fished a TNT Contact.
They're not a
just got one of
sponsor,
those-
Sloop. You can't say TNT.
Okay,
Just kidding.
cut that out.
Go ahead.
So, but I got it from one of your sponsored fly shops.
Okay, there you go. You're okay.
Precision.
No, don't. It's okay. No, you don't need to do that.
It's acceptable to answer. It's
Okay.
acceptable.
Kidding around.
All right. Anyway, the point of this is that right now I'm fishing a 3-weight, and it was a little bit undergunned for right. If I was thinking
I'm just joking with you. You spot burning son of a bitch.
it's only 60 miles
I'm
long.
just
Do it
messing
again.
with you.
Okay, so the 3-weight is a bit undergunned for the stream I was fishing.
There you go. You're getting good at it.
But the problem is, see, the 3-weight is the first true Euro nymphing rod I ever had.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh.
Here we go.
This guy.
No, I'm asking for opinions
Okay.
here.
It's true.
So
it's not just pretend. He was all in on this rod.
the 4 and 5-weight are
He's
Sorry.
converted.
Let him speak.
the 4 and 5-weight are Orvis Recon rods. They're not really advertised as strictly like Euro rods, right? So I don't really know the construction, but certainly the 5-weight is a powerful rod that loses some sensitivity when you're fishing.
Oh well, there's 2 different types of
So-
sensitivity, but let's not go down that path.
But wait. Back to the 4. I want to know about what I said about the 4 to 5 weight. You guys guide people. Do you feel like you put a client on a 5 weight, they have a better time fighting fish than on a 4 weight? Big fish, 18s that weigh 2 pounds.
I think it's the type of rod and the action of the rod that matters more than the weight of the rod a lot of times.
That's true.
You can fish a 5-weight glass rod that's a big wet noodle, and just because it's a 5-weight, it's not going to help you land
I'm just
the
talking
fish.
about like a mid flex, like your standard full mid flex 9, 10-foot 5 weight.
Yeah, kind of modern rods, the ones that we
Yeah,
all
around
use.
here, truthfully, I don't feel like
Yeah.
for one day of guiding on average sized trout that
Yeah.
we're going to be running across, I don't feel there's a large difference or advantage to either a 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't choose the 5 thinking like we might get into these 2 whiskeys today. That's probably not going to happen.
Gotcha.
To your point there, Bill. Oh, the other day somebody had a Scott 10-foot 4-weight custom. Is that a model just called custom?
I don't know. I
You're
know.
a Scott guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I got a Radian, and that
Right.
I have a 10.5 Radian. I've had clients that have had the 10.4. I think it's the Centric is like the replacement of the Radian, and those rods are a lot stiffer or stiffer, faster, and so I've noticed with some of the rods, even some of the rods that may have like heavier butt sections, it depends how you fight the fish too.
Mhm.
Like this could go on forever, but I've noticed with some rods that I fish, like Matt, you're saying like the 3 and the 4 weights. The 4 weights, I think it depends on the rod, because there's some 4 weights that I feel like are strong enough to pull fish and move fish around versus like some 4 weights, it's like they don't have backbone. and it is harder. Like if you're on a bigger river out west, I could see a 4-weight have an issue.
Sure.
I feel like those Orvis rods have a backbone. So
Right. Depends on which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about the Recon itself. Like the Recon 4-weight
Yeah.
feels like it has very little backbone.
One of the things about the Recon and the H3 line, I find that there is a very wide variance. I have an 8-foot 4-weight, and I'm like, that's an H3? You know, because the H3 to me is, you know, kind of stiff in most of the range. But then I had this 8-foot 4-weight, and it's a perfect, well, to me, kind of little small stream rod. Well, tight line nymphing small stream rod. I could use it for dry flies too. Anyway, I was surprised by kind of how flexy it was. Yeah, clear into the midsection for me. And I've cast a lot of the Recon rods of all sizes, and not just, you know, the ones that you would think they're more suited for nymphing, but a lot of the Recons. And I think that's kind of neat. Like there's a really wide range in Orvis rods, almost suited to their application,
So you're saying,
where they're not
but
all soft. Yeah.
are you saying that if you buy 2 10-foot 4-weights that they could be different, or they're going to
No, I'm glad you asked
Okay.
that, because no, I find them to be very consistent.
be? Okay.
But I'm saying that, well, before I held that 8-foot 4-weight, I was like, the H3 line is pretty stiff. Like I've told you guys, that 10-foot 6 3-weight is one of the, it's the only 3-weight that I really like to
Yeah.
fish with. And Bill, you and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I
stiff
really
for
like
a
that
3-weight.
rod a lot.
For a 10-foot 6, especially, and for a 3-weight, it's pretty stiff. So I'm surprised when I pick up that 10-foot 4-weight and I go, I like everything else about it, but I was just surprised. But it ended up to be really, really nice for the application that I wanted it for in the first place.
Trevor and I talked about this as far as like, you can cast a rod that, like, let's say you're saying, I don't know, a 9-foot 4-weight.
Yeah.
And you may love that rod, and then you might buy a
Right.
10-foot 4-weight for the same exact thing, and it may, like, there's something a little bit different with it.
Oh, sure.
It's one thing I always say, like, if you're going to buy a high-end rod, go to a fly shop and cast it. And
Well, you should do that. But I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't tell you everything. I need to
No.
fish with a rod like a whole day or maybe. Sloop, what's your favorite rod? What's your main rod?
well, now that TNT Contact, I feel like it has the
Yeah.
best feel of all the fishing rods. Now, as a 3-weight, I'm going to be outgunned
Yeah.
sooner or later if I keep, like when we go knowingly chase bigger fish, I usually take the 4-weight, the Orvis Recon. And it's interesting that you guys think that that's a flimsy rod.
I would back Sloop on it. I don't feel the year you have, and you should
Yeah.
specify the year you bought that rod, because
That's a good
it could be
point.
different
Mhm.
from what they're talking
Yeah.
about. But the rod you have, Sloop, isn't flimsy. It's stiff.
is it the 10-foot or the 10-foot 9?
It's a 10-foot, but it's an old model.
Okay.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's maybe one of the first models that came out, so I can't say they changed it, or I don't know if they did or not, but it's pretty stiff.
My dad has that rod. I don't think it's
Well, the
flimsy.
one you borrowed from me, Matt, was a 10-foot 5.
And I thought that was a stiff rod too. So
Mhm.
I can't even remember when I got each of them, but the 5 was first.
We're talking over fly rods.
I don't know that flimsy is the
Here we
right
are.
word. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I did use the word flimsy, but I don't know
Darling's
that flimsy is
backing
the
off.
right word. I'm going to
He's
say
backing off.
floppy. It is floppy.
We got him to back off.
It's no. Not backing off. Just saying it's floppy, not flimsy.
okay.
It's
Floppy, not
different.
flimsy.
It's different.
Mm.
Lack of control.
Flexy.
There's a big difference in control.
She
that you have
flexy.
with it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Sloopy.
Like the place we go in the fall.
See, that was
Chase-
good, Sloop. Good job. Right? You didn't have to spot burn it. Just the place that we go. That's good.
I usually take the 5, because there's a real expectation. The expectation, and probably it actually happens, that you catch at least one
Mm.
whiskey.
Wow.
I want to go there.
And
You got to come to Montana. That one's for Dell.
it's not even the same. I mean, it's not even the same as PA. It's which leads me to a funny story that you guys
Go ahead.
were talking about. The where you guys were all talking about how nervous you got after you caught
Yeah.
a big fish, right?
Shakes.
The shakes and why we love big trout.
Yeah, this story has nothing to do with trout.
Okay, you're on the wrong podcast, bud.
I know, but
I know.
point to be made here. You have to know that you're catching something special in the
Okay,
first
right.
place.
Rarity.
It's like suppose you catch a grayling. I caught a 6-inch grayling up at
6 inches.
some place
We're
the other
bragging about
day.
6-inch trout? Grayling? Come on.
Well, see, that's the point.
He got
He
offended.
didn't even hold the fin up.
That's right. I didn't even hold the fin up.
Doesn't count.
But when I was a kid, I went deep sea fishing when I was like 12 or something.
Okay.
With my neighbor took a bunch of boys down, and we all went deep sea fishing. And we were going for fluke. And I heard you guys talking about
Ooh,
fluke
that's
fishing
fun.
the other day.
Yeah.
So I'd never been on the ocean before. The ocean's big. You know, the expectation is fish are big,
This is true.
right? So we're on a party boat. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. It's kind of
I
like
know what you mean.
terrible experience, but it was fun for a 12-year-old kid. So we're all fishing, and these fluke must have been huge. So I caught the first one of anybody in my group. And, you know, you're supposed to catch it, you know, reel it up and yell for nets. So that's what I did. And here it is, this big fish that was like up to my belt. But I had no idea it was big enough to bring it on board. And then all sorts of people ran over and said, "Whoa, that thing's huge." And as soon as somebody made a point of telling you that you had something special, like I just like sat down and was like shaking all over.
There you go.
Nice.
But it's funny. If you have no clue, like if your expectation is that these, you know, everything is big, then, you know, you catch something and you're not in tune at all with how special it is. So the point of it all is there's a lot of special things out there, and they're not always 20 inches.
That's a
You
great
know?
point. As soon as you realized it was, well, rare, you're like, oh man, and here you go.
Look at our favorite brookie chaser, Bill.
He's a trout bitten superstar. He's the superstar fisherman here. Did you know that? He's an all-star fisherman.
Please refer to me as superstar.
Oh, yes.
Superstar.
Sorry. Yeah. Superstar.
Okay. Superstar chases those beautiful brookies. He's not catching.
He's the only one who does it.
I mean, you know when you catch a nice one.
Superstar.
Yeah, I think I said in the big fish, like one of the fish that gave me the shakes this year was like an 11 and a half inch brookie, and so
Yeah. Whether it's after a fishing trip or at a backyard fire, you can bet the Trout Bitten crew has a case of New Trail Broken Heels along with us. It's honestly our favorite beer. This hazy IPA is smooth and full-bodied. Hand-selected Citra hops lead to notes of bright clementine and juicy ruby red grapefruit. Broken Heels is a keeper. New Trail beer is proudly brewed in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and delivered cold to your favorite craft beer retailer every week. At New Trail, it's not about being the best angler. It's about getting out there. So enjoy nature's moments and reward yourself for a day well fished with New Trail Broken Heels. It's Trout Bitten's favorite beer. As fly anglers and tires, we understand the value of having the right tool for the job. AvidMax.com offers over 20,000 products and the knowledge to help you find the right tool for your job, whether that be at the tying bench or on the water. Listeners of the Trout Bitten podcast receive a special one-time discount code at avidmax.com. Enter the code TB10 at checkout on full-priced items to save 10% off your order. Orders over $25 ship for free, so you can put more gas in your tank or beer in your cooler. For all things fly fishing and tying, elevate your game with AvidMax. Hey, Sloop, so that's your big fish story. It was a fluke, right? But what about you have any grievances? Last week we did grievances. What's a Sloop grievance? Give us a Sloop grievance or 2 or 7.
Oh, because I'm notoriously a cheapskate. The price of equipment these days are just driving me crazy.
That's fair.
It's chasing. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
You can't say it's chasing anglers away because there's more of them.
That's fair too.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Right now, where we live, real estate is going out of sight, and Matt's right in the middle of it, and he thinks I'm following him, but I don't know.
You're screwed, Sloop. Bite the bullet. Glow needs a house.
Glow needs a bigger house.
So you don't like high-priced fly rods? You're mad about it.
Have you seen G4 Zip
Hey,
waders?
now.
What about R&D, bud? They have to pay for all that R&D.
No, I get it. I get it. It's not cheap living in Bozeman.
Are you going to
No,
move back? Are you tired of Los Angeles?
Bose Everly Hills.
You decided PA is a better
Well-
fishery, and you're moving back.
The Bozone.
Better fishery? No, I haven't decided that.
They like it easy out there, Deli. They like
They
the.
got all those rainbows.
That's
I
right.
was going to say, Slooper ain't leaving these faces.
He's not.
Is there a reason to?
That's right. The easy whiskeys, right? Hey, Sloop, was it you who started the whiskey tradition, or was it Pat with the Jameson?
Oh, it wasn't me with the whiskey.
Oh, I thought it was. You're the first picture that I had.
That was
you
Pat.
with the flask in your hand.
I had a near-death experience when I was a kid,
On
so I
whiskey?
don't need to.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh!
That's why you're slooping
And
the
I'm
fish.
joking about it. Yep.
It was
That's why I that's why I'm slooping the fish.
Well, you're holding that one flask in the picture, and I thought that's where it all
I
started.
remember that picture.
You and Pat, right? You're like this.
The brown trout flask.
Yeah.
That could have been a Pat family tradition.
Yeah. We should ask him about it. I thought that came from you.
We'll research.
Yeah, it wasn't a family tradition from my side.
I
So
was guiding a guy named Ryan Peterson today, and then his 12-year-old son, and they were talking about catching a whiskey. He was like, "You got the flask ready?" Because I told Ryan, I said, "This is the spot." I said, "You're likely not going to catch a 20-inch trout today." But I said, "If there's one spot, this would be it." And it's funny because his son's name's Archer, and Archer had a heck of a day. He, I don't know, landed 12 or 14 fish and lost a few others. He had a good day.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
and I put him in that spot because, of course, every dad is going to say like, "Hey, spend the most time with my son. Give him the best spots, whatever." And his son caught 2 out of that spot, and then he kind of hung up, and we got to fly out of there. And then the dad's coming up and getting ready to leapfrog him. And Archer said to Ryan, he said, "Dad, jump in here." And Dad's like, No, that's your spot. You keep catching them. You keep catching them. And the dad definitely hadn't caught nearly as many trout. And anyway, it was a neat little thing to see them back and forth because Archer really meant it. He's like, "Dad, come on." And like, seriously, "Hey, Dad, I'm just going to watch you fish for a minute." And so Dad, Ryan, gets in there. And I told him, I said, "Yeah, got a good, well, not a good shot, but if you have a shot at a 20-incher, it's right there. It's right there." And I'm like, closer to the roots. And his casting was pretty dang good. And he's like, "That's about it, don't you think?" I said, "Nope, you're not close enough. Bill, you
put
right,
it in there.
Right? We've talked about that." I said, "Now's your time." I said, "Hang up or hook up. Hang up on the roots or hook up with that biggest trout in that piece of water." And "You still don't think it's close enough?" I said, "No, you're not even, you're still a foot away. You need to be like, just hit those roots." It was a sycamore tree, and all the root system under there. I said, "I've never put my hand or my leg all the way under that." I said, "I bet it's really undercut under there." I said, "If there's a big trout, he's sitting probably in those roots, and you got to be touching them." Anyway, so we made the cast. A couple casts later, and we're talking and saying stuff, and all of a sudden, hey now. I mean, he hooked something big.
Awesome.
And Ryan would tell you himself, he probably wouldn't mind me saying this here on a podcast, that whatever, he trapped the line, didn't put it on a reel, and that fish was kind of coming toward him. We had good control. And I'm like, get him on a reel. And he was kind of trying to do that, but he still had the line trapped under his trigger finger. And that fish just went the other way. It just surged and snapped. We had 4.5X on. And it just snapped. And we all just went, "Oh!" But whatever, he slooped him, right?
Yep.
see, I'm not alone.
And he said, when I said, "Well, if you have a chance," he said, "Do you have the flask on you? Do you have the whiskey on you?" And I actually didn't. He said, "If we get a whiskey," he said, "Archer's having his first drink." Child abuse.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Documented child abuse right there. And we're all going to get arrested.
Not all of us, just you.
I'll lose my LLC.
all right. Where we at with old Slooper?
Right.
I want more sloop history and sloop experiences.
Let's drag more out of the man right there.
What do you want to talk about, Sloop?
What's a trout bitten story? Something.
Well, I wanted to do some bashing and
We like that.
Okay.
We're good at that.
All right. We're ready.
and at the same time plug a little causes that I like. So I was listening to which of the podcasts that I was listening to where Austin, he's like, we're relating a story and he says, I just saw.
Oh, wait.
Right.
Whoa.
All right, let's back up.
This is going sideways, boys.
It's going sideways.
So I'm listening to one of the episodes. What is fly fishing? That's the
That's
episode,
not fly
right?
fishing.
And
Right? That was the
Austin's,
episode name, title.
Austin's talking about Joan Wolf and dressed up as a nun,
Okay.
just some nun, and he didn't. And he's like, he
Dom
didn't
Julian, isn't
know
it?
the significance.
Yeah, right?
Yes, it
you got
is.
me. You got me.
And I'm like, damn, Austin. I mean, the reason I bring up Dame Juliana is because I'm a former
Of
president.
the Dame what is it? Dame Juliana?
Dame Juliana
League of Live Fishers. That doesn't sound elitist, by the way. That's fine.
No.
That doesn't sound elitist at all.
It doesn't sound elitist. Let's
Damn.
take the story a little farther. So,
Sounds European.
well, I guess it was, but from many
Still
centuries.
exists. I know we have listeners that actually are excellent members of that.
Oh, Dom, remember, this is where I talked you in.
I know, right?
I talked you into
This is
starting
true.
your
Right.
your presentation.
That's the first presentation I ever gave. Another way that Sloop was like the keystone to this entire trout pitting project. So Sloop was like, "Will you give a presentation?" I said, "No." He said, "Will you do a presentation for the club this year?" I said, "Maybe." And then the next year, "Will you do a presentation now?" I said, "All right." I would say, honestly, it was one of the best experiences I ever had. It went so smoothly because of the way you ran it. And I don't know, you made me feel very comfortable, very welcome. And I appreciated that, and that started another ball rolling. So thanks, Sloop.
Let me give you a plug here for all the trout pitting listeners. I'll tell you, I mean, I was a member of that club for years, and we had lots of speakers, lots of famous Pennsylvania authors and fishermen that we've all heard of came out here. And you guys were talking about elitists in previous podcasts. Anytime I stick my neck out and go ahead and get sign somebody like Dominic up, I feel like full responsibility. This thing's
Sure.
got to go well. So I'm real nervous. And I'm thinking, holy shit, we got all these old crotchety old guys in our club who never go beyond 5X and are throwing dry flies all the time. And like, man, if I bring somebody in here who's touting 30 feet of mono on the end of the line.
Well, that's what you asked me to present on too, was the mono rig, right?
Yes. So I was really nervous, but when Dom showed up and did the presentation, we had a full house. I never saw a more engaged audience than ever in all the previous presentations we ever had. I never saw more directed questions for all sorts of nymphing questions. And I came away really jazzed up that I pulled it off.
Well, like I said.
Well, you pulled it off. You pulled it off, but it went really well, and I was really excited for you.
Yeah, like I said, that was the first presentation I ever gave.
But you've been back to VFTU,
Oh, yeah.
you've been back to White
Everywhere
Clay
now.
Fly Fishers.
It's not my favorite thing to do, but only because of the travel. And I have so much Little League stuff and whatever. Anyway, I remember Sloop. I remember feeling like, okay, at the time I was playing music, right? So I was playing gigs every night. So I don't really have stage fright. But I remember feeling a little anxious. It's something I had never done before. But as soon as I started talking about fishing and seeing your group was fantastic, like your club was fantastic. People engaged, just wanting to talk about fishing. Lots of questions, lots of back and forth engagement, And I remember feeling like, oh, this is cool. Like I do like being around fishermen. I don't like being around big crowds, right? But I do like being around big crowds of fishermen. Enough. And I thought that was really neat. And I remember feeling that way, feeling very comfortable. And anyway, you made it happen.
Well, let me add this as it wasn't a one-off.
No.
Do you remember when you made a presentation? I forget what your presentation was. It might not have been mono. It might have been the 50. What was the 50
tips in 60
tips?
minutes? That's good because it's not real technical. You just breeze through a bunch, like literally 50 tips in 60 minutes.
That's the one you gave. I think so. But you gave it to, it might have been Mainline Fly
can't remember.
Tires. Yes,
Okay.
it was. And it was just a terrible day. And I drove out to see you do it. And I mean, they had twice the attendance, 3 times the attendance that Dame Juliana had. And you got just a ton of pointed questions. And I mean, people paid attention to your stuff,
It's neat.
to your
I don't know, I think
presentations.
people like to talk shop. You know what I mean? If you give them a chance to respond and ask questions, that's just the way it goes. That's what I think.
I know. I've seen a lot of these presentations, and I thought, however you conducted your presentation, you got the most feedback from anybody that I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. But yeah, you started all that,
Yeah,
dude.
so it's a
You
credit
started
to
all
you.
that. I appreciate
So
that.
Sloop, listen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
these guys gang up on me out here
Mm.
about the PA to Montana differences, right? They've only heard me talk about them. So let's hear your take after being a Montana resident for 2 years.
Well, I was thinking hard about this, Matt. And I'm telling you, I'm going to fall more like on an even Steven. I have more of a history, I think, in PA than you. Obviously, I'm an older fart than you are. But I tell you what, those northern tier counties up there, you know, in PA and some of those famous northern tier streams, they're fun to fish.
The Tribs, especially, I love.
You know, all the famous ones that we all know around Central PA.
You're
they're
trying
fun
hard
to
not
fish.
to say the names.
I mean, there's a lot.
You're trying hard not to say the names. Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it within regions.
those northern ones. That's good. Sloop, I got some rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Rapid fire. Give me I don't know, short answers. Ready? Give me your best fall-in story. Doesn't have to be super short. As a matter of fact, why don't you go ahead and elaborate on this one? Go ahead and embarrass yourself. Tell us about your best fall-in story, because we've all done this. What's your best?
Except Bill Dell.
Bill never falls in.
My most recent fall-in story is a couple of years ago, actually, on the.
Oh, God.
This
is called the Spot Burning Podcast.
Did you say a couple years ago?
Well, wait a second. He said most recent and couple years. Oh.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us, like Bill Dell, you're going to lie to us like Bill Dell here and tell us you haven't fallen in for 2 years?
Well, how far is falling in?
Well, we have slated for season 9 a bunch of good topics. I think they're good topics. And one of them is fall-in stories. And what is a fall-in? So, guys, what's falling in? Sloop wants to know.
You got water in your waders.
There you go. I like that.
Agree.
That seems easy, simple. I think we can all agree
Sloop,
on that.
I know you've gotten water in your waders.
Yeah, sooner than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year.
Come on,
you've gotten
bud.
water in your waders.
Look at him.
Yeah, but did I fall
Yes.
in?
Well, I don't know what.
How do you
what
do
else
it?
would you have done?
I mean, and the story I was going to relate to you is, I completely slipped and fell and was, hands and feet and everything, and
Ass over teacups.
moving downstream on a cold.
Because water's faster out there and the trout are bigger. They take you downstream.
Not on that stream.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't know.
fell in a cupcake waiter.
That was probably I don't know. I'm going to defer to the fact that I've gained a little bit more in the PAP
All right.
category. And
What's PAP stand for? People are
particular.
particular. Yes, people are particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I fish with my wife a lot too, so I stay real diligent looking for safe crossings, and we cross together a lot too.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of things we do now.
Does she hold you up? Does Glow hold you up?
Only crossing.
All right. Couple more quick questions for you. Do you use a waiting staff?
I have a waiting staff with me more often than not anymore, but how often I use it, actually, not as much as I should probably.
What's your favorite boot studs?
I've still got a handful of pairs of those old bars.
Oh, no kidding.
But
Aluminum bars.
okay, here's a grievance. Matt can attest to this. I bought a fancy pair of felt boots with Sims G4s, and the grievance is they have set spots
right. To put the studs
to
in.
put the studs in, and we were trying to put your recommended studs,
The grip studs.
and they wouldn't go in.
No, not in those receptacles. No. Agreed.
So I had to use good old coal cutters.
Oh boy, those are the last 2 trips.
They've been fine.
Would you walk 100 yards every day?
They got different rocks in Montana.
It's okay for Montana. They mostly just float out there in Delhi.
Those big fish, though. The big fish could pull them in out there, I heard.
Oh, fast currents too. The currents are so fast, you don't really put much stress on the studs because you're kind of almost like you're not really standing on the rocks. The current's so fast, it kind of keeps you buoyant almost. It's tough out there. It's tough out there.
It's a grind.
It's a grind.
I don't know. I guess mileage may vary, but I get pretty decent luck out of those cold cutter
All right,
ones.
that's a good answer. What about your latest namer? What's the name of your latest 2-foot trout?
Uh-oh.
Oh man, don't even.
Did I hit a sore subject?
This is a sad
Did I hit a sore
situation
subject?
for me. Well, because how about Soon to be slooped.
No.
That is legendary.
Just lie to
Soon to
us.
be
That's a pretty
slooped.
good name.
Oh.
Soon to be
You just
slooped.
see the adipose in the picture. Soon to be slooped.
Was his hands in the air?
Oh, no. My next namer, I'm naming it Sloop John B.
I had one 24-inch brown from a famous PA stream that we all
Good job.
fish. But it's well known for club water.
Wait a
So
second.
No, that doesn't
I had
count.
No.
That's what I mean. It's
I
well
can't
known
believe
for
you
club
just
water,
came on
so
this
there's-
podcast and said your only namer was from the club.
That's what he just said.
Go home.
Sloop. Mute
Didn't
this
I
guy.
vehemently-
Mute him.
Deny
Cancel.
ever. Basically
They're going to dox him.
said I did never get one.
Everybody, the trout bitten community out there, the wide trout bitten community is going to dox Sloop.
Hey, I
Put his phone
basically
number in
said
the
I
show.
did.
Oh, yeah.
notes.
I-
Yep,
Let everyone text him
Yep.
about
Got it.
why he
Emailing.
shouldn't be
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
that
Yep,
club
email
water.
and text. Yep.
Oh my gosh. You don't have another encounter besides that one?
Well, I mean, I can't. I don't know if they're namers if I don't get
You
them in.
sloop every big fish? Come on, man.
There's a reason it's called sloop.
Well,
There's a reason.
my largest fish last year was a 22-inch.
We're nothing shy about that.
I seem to get like one or two of them a season, but I don't seem to go over
Tell
that.
Grobe to play bartender for you.
There you
Sure.
go. What?
Hey, when
There's
know.
plenty of them out there. Get him one.
ask him when he's caught those.
Hey, Sloop, when have you caught those big 22s?
Well, I guess you caught your rainbow without me last year.
Bows don't count. Bows don't
He was a
count.
big, he was a big
Well, I
boy.
got the rainbow.
Bows don't count.
I forget where I got the.
Got to remember those ones.
6-inch grayling count, though.
That's right. I don't really think about them as much, honestly.
When Grobe's leaving the neighborhood, you got to keep up with him. You got to hit the gas. Don't let him get away from you.
I know he doesn't know. He has a GPS thing under his
Attaboy.
there's a
That's right.
GPS
Attaboy.
You can buy them cheap now.
under that Forerunner.
He knows. Imagine if someone put as much time, thought, and effort into designing fishing apparel as you put into finding fish. Well, someone did. Squala Fly Fishing builds waders, jackets, shirts, and pants so well designed, dependable, and comfortable, you hardly notice them. When you're wearing Squala, you're never hot or wet or unreasonably cold, so you can focus on more important things, like fishing. They don't make gear for everybody. They make gear for us, the like-minded few, serious anglers who don't take themselves too seriously. Check them out at squalafishing.com. Then use the code TROUTBITTEN10, that's the number 10, for 10% off your first order from Squala.
So I want to plug Sloop.
Go.
For all the bashing we're doing,
Oh, yeah.
Sloop is a fantastic friend, of course, you can tell.
Yes.
When I first met Sloop, it was in 2013, 2014. And I was in high school, and his daughter and I both won the same scholarship. And I've told this story before on the show. But I sat down next to him, and once he learned I was going to Penn State and that I was interested in fly fishing, you could see his whole eyes light up, and
Yeah.
the excitement came over. And I was excited, too, because I had met many people who knew the area well and who were willing to share any information or talk about it. And within one evening, he had already offered to give me his email and phone number. He said, when I come up there next, because I was going up there in the summertime, when I come up there next, I'll get in touch and we'll go fishing. And I thought, well, maybe, probably not. This guy
People
would probably
say that,
forget
but
about me or
right,
whatever.
yeah, he
he's
probably-
just being nice.
Right.
But sure enough, within my first week or two, John and I exchanged a few emails about where to go, how I can get on the bus to get to the stream, where I could ride my bicycle safely, where
Nice.
the bike routes were to get there. Like, just awesome information.
Yes.
And sure enough, he came up at least once or twice that summer and began to teach me a lot of foundations for trout fishing that I use today. So big thank you to John.
Yeah.
Big plug. I'll follow up on the plug because
Nice.
when I left Pennsylvania, right, I left all my best fishing buddies behind, which
Sure.
is you guys and my family, and I don't think anybody's was as happy when Sloop moved to Montana than me, because he's it's tough to find good fishing buddies, as we've all talked about on this
Right on.
podcast, and I have not even a handful, one or two good fishing buddies out here, and Sloop's reliable. Doesn't need to go to the gas station for coffee. And he's
Don't be late.
he's not late. Sloop's never late,
Nice.
and he's as good of a fishing buddy as you could ask for, as far as the road
Absolutely. trips
trips we go on, and so all kidding aside, you demand Sloop John
That's
B.
right, dude.
That's right.
Matt tells you 6 o'clock, but I know damn well he's going to be there 5:45.
I was the opposite, right? Like me and Sloop were fishing a lot in the winter and stuff in central PA.
Yeah.
And then he decided to move to Montana. So I was sad. So, Groves stole my fishing buddy.
Hey,
he was,
I didn't
he
have
actually-
any. I needed Sloop.
needed one.
How'd you convince him
He
to
was
move
the-
out there?
Well,
Why'd you move out
I
there,
know.
Slooper?
man, I'll tell you,
Go ahead.
talk about trout bitten, right? This is the whole essence of this program.
Yeah.
It's funny. My parents are from New York City people, and they, for my parents, a day outside is a day on the golf course.
Mm.
They never would ever think of teaching you how to fish. So one day, my dad bought like a whole bunch of equipment. We lived next to a lake, and just kind of said, "Here, kids, go fish." And I have a lot of brothers, so we all went out fishing, and it caught on with a couple of them. It really resonated with me, and my older brother bought a fly rod and used it for about a year and kind of set it aside. And I grabbed it, and it's like probably when I was 14 and started fishing for bass and panfish and all that other stuff. And then we heard about trout, and remember, our life was however far away we could get on our Stingray back then.
Nice. The bicycle.
Yeah. Guys, remember, any guys old enough to remember Field and Stream and Outdoor Life book clubs? And
The Field and Stream, but not
Yeah.
the book club.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
a big Field and Stream guy
Me
growing
too.
up as a
Me
kid.
too. Couple
Huge.
magazines.
yeah, any of you guys remember the McLean's Encyclopedia that was about, it was a tome. It was super thick. It was just a monstrous encyclopedia of fishing. And I came free with the book club offer. So I'm flipping through it, and I'm seeing pictures of the Beartooth Range,
Huh.
which is where I sent you pictures from this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah. Right.
And I saw pictures. Now I'm going to spot burn in this sense. I just saw pictures of Yellowstone Park and read all about fishing. And this is from 1975. And, I'm like, I'm going to end up
Yeah.
there.
And there you are.
I tell you, I haven't made many goals in my life, but the one goal I made was to end up out
Yeah.
in
Oh, wow.
Montana. And, whatever things happened during my life that allowed it to happen, they set up in an order that allowed me to get out here, get a house out here, hook up
Right.
with Grove, and just start enjoying
That's
the
awesome.
mountain life.
I'll tell you.
That's
it's
great.
Deli's making finger motions. I don't even know what that means.
I'm seeing him.
Honestly, though, man, I think you've made a fantastic life for yourself. That's a good answer why you moved out to Montana. That's neat how that all comes full circle. But your kids, are
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's just been a passion.
You're successful. So is Gloria, your wife, fishing with. That's neat. Made a great life for yourself, bud. Fantastic.
Wait. What'd you say, Sloop?
What did he say?
Yeah,
What'd he
what's
say?
he saying?
I think Gloria can outweigh him.
Outweighed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, outweighed him.
That's her fighting words.
Well, she caught the nicest fish of the year last year. I think you guys have all seen that picture.
That checks out
Um,
what I've seen.
Name her.
no, it was 22, but I'd say that, and it's the same size as the fish I caught, but I'd tell you it was a nicer fish than the one I. The
Sure.
one,
Sloop got a rainbow. 22.
she's yelling. She's yelling at me 23.
she's in the
but
background
she-
yelling.
One thing that you'll know from Sloop, if he says a measurement,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
measures.
I like
Sloop,
that.
Sloop
That's
is
the truth.
probably the most honest measuring person that I've ever met.
Oh, he
Legitimately.
underestimates.
Yeah.
He
No,
does,
he whips
yeah.
out the measure.
Yeah,
The
he gets
measure
out
comes out.
Yeah.
He does. He gets out the stick and he.
And if he estimates it, and I know this, we fished side by side, Sloop, and you're like, well, I don't know, maybe that was 14 inches. I'm like, bud, that was like 16, 17 inches. That's a good one.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe it was 14. Sloop's an underestimator, whereas obviously most anglers are overestimators.
And now I have that fish pond net.
They're
You
not
know,
a
the one
sponsor.
it's-
You-
the hoop is
They're
18.
not a sponsor.
Okay, now I have some unnamed
kidding.
net that has an 18 hit and choop, and usually like I'll just take the fish up and
Yep.
see if it's worthy of, I can gauge whether it's close
Yeah.
to 18, and 18 is kind of. out here in Big
Oh,
Fish
my.
Land.
Oh,
18
That's
is
like that's an average fish.
you know what? Like, I'm getting tired
In
of
a
it.
big fest.
I'm getting tired of this Montana elitism stuff.
It is.
Grow up.
Sloop's turning.
He's on Team Montana now.
Well, we love the faces for sure.
Oh, that's what keeps it entertaining when you can't catch the real wild browns.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Anyway, hey, we got anything else, guys? Hey, Slooper, what? You have anything else? Anything you want to talk about?
Okay, this is what I'll end on. I really want to thank all you guys for making the effort to come on out that night when I was back in PA.
Yeah.
I'm visiting, you know. I know you guys have family life and all that other stuff, and I appreciate how hard it is to break away. And Austin, you came
You did.
country, you know, you came a long way. You know, it
You
means
need
a
an
lot
An hour is nothing
to
to see you.
have you guys show up.
Yeah, it was good to see you.
And I'll let you know next time I'm back that way.
Right on, bud. Always good to
Right
see
on.
you.
Yeah.
All right. There it is. The finale of season 7 on the Trout Bitten podcast, the one with Sloop. I think what we all find so rewarding about this life on the water are the friendships. We form deep bonds with people because they are fishermen. Because they too are captivated by the trout, by the places trout take us, and by the refinement of tactics required to catch a wild trout. Our friends are at the heart of it all. And the longer we do this, the more we realize that catching a good fish, winning a baseball game, or just sitting around a campfire is a lot better when we have good friends to share it with. So thanks to all my Trout Bitten friends. Thanks to the guys here and to all of you out there listening. Thank you for being part of this community and for supporting the Trout Bitten Project. So we'll be back with season 8 of the Trout Bitten podcast in a few weeks with a skills series focused on night fishing for trout. Until then, keep casting, keep learning, and keep sharing it all with your fishing friends. So Sloop John B., do you want to read us out?
I certainly do.
Here we go. Sloop John B. reading us out.
Remember, the Trout Bitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Trout Bitten website hosts over 1,000 articles with endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more. Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page. Navigate by the way of the categories and tags too. Be sure to find the Trout Bitten YouTube channel, currently featuring the Trout Bitten Tip series in a collaboration with Wild Media. These are short, useful, and unique tips for your fly fishing life. Thank you for listening to the Trout Bitten podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast and leave a comment, because that really helps. Until next time, friends, fish hard, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water.
Don't sloop it. When you lose a fish without reason, you slooped it.
Trout Bitten.
I promise, it really does work.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're namers if I don't get them in.
Come on, sloop.
Burn it all down, Sloop.
Whoa, that thing's huge.
They're bigger fish.
So pump.
What a mess that's going to be to edit.
I'm going to spot burn.
Please refer to me as Superstar.
Well, I guess it was.
Do you guys hold hands when you're fishing together?
Sloopy.
The 3-weight is the first true Euro nymphing rod I ever had.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, this guy.
Come on, sloop.
Don't sloop it.
Trout Bitten.
That's the outro over and over and over.
Trout bitten.
Save that forever.
Trout Bitten.
It should be an endless loop of
That's right. That's what I'm going to make the outro. Just an endless loop of Trout Bitten. Trout Bitten.
Oh, shit.
I finally got my opportunity to contribute.
I'm keeping that too. That goes. You got anything else to say? I'm just going to put it in the outro.
Nope.